Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zakita Bishop, and I am a volunteer on the Philly SHRM Programming Committee. We want to thank you for joining today's webinar entitled Top Talent on Demand, How to Find, Attract, and Keep Them. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Elena Letter-Moser, Graduate Assistant Director in the School of Business at Westchester University, our annual webinar sponsor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena, and I am the Graduate Assistant Director in the School of Business at Westchester, and I'm here to share an exciting degree program for you. It's the Master's of Science in Human Resource Management. It is an AACSB accredited, SHRM aligned, top value, and 100% online graduate program. You can complete your human resource degree entirely online in a 100% online class format, part-time or full-time. The program consists of 10 courses, which is 30 credits, and they operate in 7-week terms, and we offer 5 terms a year. You can complete your classwork on your weekly schedule around your work and family commitments. Additionally, one 3-credit course is approximately $2,000. This means you can earn your entire degree for thousands less than at other comparable schools. The MS Human Resource Management Program is accredited by AACSB International, the premier global accrediting body for business schools. And we're also aligned with the curriculum standards developed by SHRM. And students who meet the prerequisites are eligible to apply for the SHRM Certificate Professional Exam in their final semester. The degree does prepare you to advance within the human resource profession at the highest levels, focusing on compensation and benefits, employee and labor relations, ethics, global human resources, human resource metrics, leadership and change management, and workforce planning. We do offer GMAT waivers for qualified students, and our students come from all different backgrounds, not just business majors. So please do contact me with your questions at hrm@wcupa.edu. That's hrm@wcupa.edu. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you, Westchester, for your sponsorship. During today's presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them via the question box of the GoToWebinar panel, and we will read them aloud to the speaker at the end of the webinar. We also want to remind you that you are eligible to receive 1 HRCI credit and 1 SHRM Professional Development credit for attending today's webinar. You will receive a follow-up email after the webinar with a survey link that must be completed in order to receive the certificate for your credits. Once the survey has been completed, the credit forms will be emailed to you within 1 week. All slides will be sent to all attendees after the webinar. Today's webinar will feature Ann Ryan, Director of Brand Strategy at Brownstein Group, and Michael C. Harden, co-founder of Juno Search Partners. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you. All right, so I'm hoping that this webinar is going to be a little bit different than perhaps a lot of the webinars that you might be used to attending within HR. In advertising and marketing, we tend to be a little looser, a little more unconventional about things, so just kind of go along for the ride. What you're going to learn about today is what a brand really is. It's so much more than a logo or a tagline, so we're going to talk about that, and then how you can use your company's brand to create a talent brand that will allow you to attract better talent and also engage your employees. So to really show you how that's done, Michael and I are going to do a bit of bantering back and forth live in a bit of a workshop mode, and hopefully you can take some of the same approaches and tools to apply to your own organization. And then we're going to show you some examples of brands that we think do a really good job showcasing their culture, their values, these pillars that make up their brand on their careers page in their social media as a way to attract talent. All right, so moving forward, what is a brand anyway? So there are a few quotes that I think do a really nice job summing up what a brand is. The first one from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon: your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Next, from Seth Godin, who's basically the god of branding: a brand is the set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, when taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. And I think this is so important because that really is the job of a brand. You know, we encounter over 500 brands every single day, every single one of us. So how do you choose laundry detergent? How do you choose toothpaste? You know, how do you choose whether to take Uber or Lyft? You know, there's a lot going on in your brain that helps make you make those decisions, and it really is the work of the brand to do that. A brand is to an organization as a personality is to an individual. Without it, you are merely the sum of your parts. And I think this is really important, specifically for HR, who is selling an organization, you're selling a company, and there is a way that you can personify your company in order to make it more attractive to candidates out there. And lastly here, the most powerful enduring brands are built from the heart. If you're someone who loves TV commercials that make you cry, there's a reason for that. You know, we like to be moved, but when we make decisions, we're making them from a place of emotion, often rather than logic, and the same is true when you're picking a place to work. It is an emotional decision, and brands, again, have a place in that. So to warm our brains up a little bit and kind of get in the mood of what it might be like to make decisions based on brand preferences, we're going to play a game. I'm going to show Michael 2 brands on a slide, and I'm going to ask her to pick one, and then I'm going to ask her to tell us why. And as I'm going through these slides, I want you to look at the slide, and I want you to choose the brand that you would pick, and just stop to ask yourself why you chose that product or service, and what it is you like about that product or service that made you choose it. So you can kind of play along in your head with us. All right, so the first one, Michael, Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Why?
I prefer the taste. That's it.
That's it. That's functional, not very emotional. She just likes how it tastes. That's all right. Lyft or Uber?
Lyft.
Why?
For some reason, I feel like Uber they don't like gay people.
Okay.
Didn't something happen? That's buried in my subconscious somewhere. I had Uber. I deleted it from my phone. I got mad at them. Lyft only.
Yeah, Lyft is perceived to be a bit more ethical company and to treat their drivers a bit better. So in this case, the brand values and their treatment and the promise that they're making to their employees and their customers is impacting your perception. iPhone or Galaxy?
iPhone.
Why?
I feel like I am just Apple everything. I've never used Galaxy, so I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I feel like the functionality on the iPhone is better. And yeah, I don't know. But you know what is interesting recently? The new commercial that Samsung has is really compelling against Apple. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
No.
So advertising's having some impact.
A little bit. I'm not there yet. I don't know.
All right. I'll let the advertisers know.
All right.
Okay. So just in that exercise, you can see, and hopefully as you were playing along in your mind, often you can make a really quick decision about which brand or product or company you prefer, and it's based off of a collective set of experiences. It might be based off of the values that that company or product has. It could just be on something very functional like taste or service. Sometimes it's price. But again, the whole point is that, you know, our brains need brands to help us make these decisions. We are confronted with these decisions every single day. So as you can imagine, since this is ultimately about talent branding, a lot of these same principles apply whenever a candidate is looking for their next career, when they're looking for their next job, and they're out there and they're shopping companies and they're trying to make decisions about, well, which company would I rather apply to, or which job offer would I rather accept? So again, play along. I'm going to present 2 different companies to you on the screen, and I want you in your mind to ask yourself, which company would I rather work at? And then, you know, think through why. Why is it? What is it about that company that makes it more appealing than the other? All right, so Michael, would you rather work at Aramark or Campbell's?
Aramark.
Why?
Campbell's is in New Jersey. I can't go over the bridge.
Oh man, hater. All right, Urban or IKEA, 2 retail brands.
Urban.
Why is that?
I just feel like they have a trendier, edgier brand. Again, I'm a city person. They're in the Naval Yard. Their culture is amazing. Whereas being from Philadelphia, you don't hear a ton about IKEA's culture, or I just don't hear as much positivity about IKEA as I do Urban.
Cool. Comcast, or if you guys saw the news today, Philly made it into the top 20 contenders, actually, as Amazon's second headquarters city. So this is a possibility that one day you might be choosing between Comcast or Amazon. So which would you choose, Michael?
So I go Comcast again. I just feel like I'm tethered to the brand being from Philadelphia. I know a lot of good folks at Comcast. I know some of the good work that they're doing in terms of talent development and employee relations and culture and so on and so forth. I think the company's got a little bit of a bad rap from the cable perspective, but I think internally they're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, so for everyone on this webinar, on the call here, I want you to just stop and, we'll pause for a few moments. And I want you to think about your company. If your company's logo was up against someone who you would consider to be in your competitive set, who are you competing for really good talent with? So think about what the candidates out there, what people out there are thinking about your company as a place to work. What do you think they might be saying about your culture? About what it's like to go in every day, about how they treat their employees? Do you think that they have any fodder at all to even think anything? Is anything out there in the marketplace that you're aware of? So just really pause for a moment and think about what you think your company is perceived to be as a place to work. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start to get into the nuts and bolts a little bit. And before we start talking about talent branding, I do want to put this out there, which is that every single person on this call really needs to understand your company's core master brand. So if you work at a company that has marketing and you have a marketing team, as soon as you get off this webinar or sometime this week, go to marketing, find a buddy in marketing and ask them to share with you, the brand platform. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. If you're someone on this call who has to do every single job function in your organization, you just don't have marketing or you're lean on marketing resources, you might want to take some time to put some pen to paper and really think about what makes up your brand, because your talent brand is an extension of your master brand. In a way, they're one and the same. So whether you're a big company that already has a brand platform or you're a shop of one, it is important that you do this work first. And I'll share my contact information with you at the end of this call if you do need help with this. I'm always happy to provide guidance. But definitely start with your brand platform. So this is what a brand platform typically consists of, and it starts from the bottom up as we're reading. And a brand platform, it might look a little bit different than this depending on your organization, but they all tend to have the same Legos, the same building blocks, which is your brand DNA. This example here is for a bank. So, what is your brand DNA? In terms of the very essence and the core of your brand and what you offer. What are your brand values? What do you value within your company? Sometimes it's trust, sometimes it's empathy, sometimes it's good judgment. There's all kinds of values out there. So really determining what are the core values of your brand. And then your brand promise. So this is a brand platform. So in the case of this bank, it would be their promise to their customers. Moving on to that, a brand manifestation. This could also just be key messaging, right? A lot of this you might even find on your company's about page. Typically, company about pages have a brand promise, a vision, a mission, values, right? This is a lot of what you would see in company overview pages. So getting the messaging that marketing is putting out there about the company is really important. And then your brand statement and your brand positioning, which is what makes your company different, better, unique than any other company out there. And then at the very top here, your brand essence, which is the energy of the brand, like at the core, like what does it really stand for? So this is just one example. You might get something from marketing that looks a little bit different than this, but they're going to have generally the same tenets, and that's what you want to base your talent brand off of. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a few minutes, but just really wanted to make sure that everyone on the call understands that a talent brand isn't something that you build separately. You first take a look at your company's overall brand, your overall value proposition, how you're talking about yourself to customers, to clients, to the outside world. And what you do is you then pivot that to talk to potential candidates and how they make your organization's purpose, your mission, and your vision all come true, because it's employees who really help grow and move companies forward. All right, so moving into talent brand overall. What is a talent brand? So a talent brand is how your company is perceived as a place to work. And I think one of the most important pieces of information you can take away today is that every company has a talent brand, whether you intend to or not. And the reason for that is because everyone out in the world has an opinion about what your company is like as a place to work. Whether it's from friends that work there, whether it's from former employees, particularly if they're disgruntled, it's Glassdoor reviews, it's anything that might be on your website, it's the messaging that you're putting out there. So if you have employees at your company, there is some perception out there about your company as a place to work. And you have a choice. You can either let employees and just sort of let society at large form their own opinion, or as HR, you can work with marketing to try to shape and shift some of that messaging and be a little bit more intentional about the information people are relying on to form an opinion about your company as a place to work. So what's in the talent brand? What exactly makes it up? What are the pillars? So it's the pillars that create culture and really cultivate purpose. So, you know, when you're looking for a new job, sure, you have a lot of questions about benefits and compensation and the role, the job qualification, but you're really also thinking about, well, what's my life going to be like day to day? You know, what does this company stand for? Can I really see myself working in this company? Because companies now are where we work, it says something about us. You know, we want to work for organizations that are mirrors of our own values. You know, it's not just about a position anymore, which is why a talent brand is made up of your brand values, your workplace culture. Of course, it's the hard and the soft benefits. It's growth opportunities. What's the pathing? What does the career trajectory look like that you can offer a candidate? Any of the perks that you offer, the larger purpose in terms of why do you come to work every day? And then, of course, performance management and feedback, how you're really growing and nurturing employees. How is it used? So, you know, the same way that for any company that you're working for, marketing's job is to really differentiate your company out in the marketplace and convince new customers and new clients to choose your company's product or service. Well, HR uses a talent brand in the same way. It's to differentiate your company as a place to work out in the market. It is a candidate's market right now. There's a lot of jobs out there, not always a lot of top talent, not the kind of talent that's really going to come in and transform your company. Often you have to really make a strong case for why they should choose your organization. And a talent brand can help you do that by putting culture out there, your values out there, creating a larger purpose, showing the path that you can offer. That's really what some of particularly younger talent, you know, people in their 20s and 30s are interested in, often over salary, as a lot of you, I'm sure, are aware of. So it is important. You know, we went through that exercise in the beginning where Michael chose which consumer brand she would choose, and then she went through which company she would want to choose as a place to work. And the reality is that consumers shop brands the same way talent shop places to work. So if you are a badass candidate and you're out there and you're looking at different careers pages and different websites, you're just shopping companies as places you might want to invest your career. And it's really up to the language that HR and marketing is putting out there to stop a really good candidate in their tracks and say, oh my gosh, like this company looks so different and better than the rest. And it doesn't matter if you're a law firm or you're in the industrial sector, or if you are urban or Aramark. Every single company with a little bit of like thinking and creativity can find a way to present themselves as a unique place to work, a place that can offer opportunity and purpose. And that's how you attract the right kind of talent. And then in terms of, is this soft, is a talent brand soft language? Is it just marketing coming in and saying we need a message and we need a campaign? It's not. There are hard results that have been proven through any company that has embarked on being very intentional about the talent brand that they're putting out there in ways where HR can become a cost savings machine. So the source for this is Boston Consulting Group, and LinkedIn did a really big study on it. So if you take the time to create a talent brand and start to put that messaging out there, and again, I'll show you how to do that in a minute, you'll spend less time hiring, and you'll also lower your cost per hire by as much as 50%. And the reason is if you have a really strong talent brand and you build a reputation as an awesome place to work, you're not going to have to go out and spend a ton of time recruiting and trying to find really great candidates. You're going to be like a magnet. You're going to attract that kind of talent. It's the reason Google doesn't spend any money on recruiting. They don't need to. They are flooded with applications, similar to Facebook. So, if you can really develop, what your culture and your values are, and you can start communicating that, it does so much of the recruiting work for you. Also, if you continue, once you hire a candidate and they're an employee, you can boost employee retention and turnover by up to 40% by continuing to remind all of your existing team members, hey, this is the purpose you serve every day, by honoring the culture, making good on all of the benefits that you offered them, and continually reinforcing why your company is a great place to work, that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think the most important thing here is that you really do have an opportunity to influence the conversation with candidates. You're going to be on the phone doing screeners and in first-round interviews anyway. So, what are you going to say? You can go over job requirements, qualifications, all of that, or you can really put your marketing and sales hat on and sell your company and sell purpose versus just selling a set of qualifications. So how you create it, we're going to workshop this actually in just a moment, but again, if you have marketing within your organization, then you're not alone. Marketing really should want to help you. They should want to help HR come together, and marketing should want to say, hey, HR, here's our messaging, here's our values, here's our proposition out in the marketplace. Let me help you craft messaging specifically to attract candidates. Let's create the messaging we can put on the careers page and on LinkedIn and our social media profiles. So get with marketing. They will be your biggest advocate. And again, if you don't have marketing, that's okay. The exercise we're going to go through, it'll at least be a starting point where you can just think about your brand vision and your values, your mission, think about your culture, and then start to put some of that language and that narrative to work. But if you do have marketing, it's important, again, to get with them because they can help you get leadership buy-in. The more advocates, the better. And, marketing hopefully can open up some budget as well, because the thing with recruiting, as you guys know, LinkedIn isn't always free. So in a really big way, oftentimes a talent brand campaign, if you want to blow it out, you might be going out there and buying ad placement and things like that. So I can't say enough, if you have marketing, get with them and ask them to help you. All right, so we're going to workshop now. Michael, are you ready to put Juno to work?
I'm ready.
All right. So what we've done here is Michael actually is hiring recruiters. She's looking to grow Juno. She knows she wants to expand markets, and so she needs a recruiter on her team. And in the past, Juno might have just put on their website, for example, or on LinkedIn, here's an open position, it's for a recruiter, and then listing out all of the responsibilities for that recruiter, and then just seeing what comes in. And then when candidates come in and they get on the phone, they're talking about the position, and that's one way it can go. Or we can turn it on its head, and Michael can take control of the conversation and totally reposition the way Juno might be hiring for this recruiter position. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this exercise from the candidate's perspective. Because again, what you're trying to do with your talent brand is impact the perception of the candidate. It's about making your organization and this position more attractive to them. So let's say a candidate applies for the recruiter position and Michael gets on the phone with them. And the first question that a candidate might ask to Michael is, what role do I play in the company? You know, what is the greater purpose that I can really really create for myself and for Juno? Like, how can I have real impact? We know that that's one of the values, particularly of the younger workforce, is that they want to feel like they can have an impact on the company and that they have a voice that falls outside of their position often. So what this is really about is your employee's purpose. And so what we want to do is write an employee purpose statement. And the best way to go about an employee purpose statement is by playing what we call a benefit game. And you play it with yourself. And what you do is you write down in very simple terms, what do your employees do? And then you keep asking yourself like a 5-year-old, well, what's the benefit of that? And what's the benefit of that? And what's the benefit of that? And you keep asking yourself, you know, what do my employees come in to do every single day? You know, in advertising for my team specifically, I say they come in to create brand strategies. Well, what's the benefit of that? We help differentiate our clients out in the marketplace. Well, what's the benefit of that? We help our clients get more business and increase revenue. Well, what's the benefit of that? They can invest in R&D to invent more products and services to help consumers. You can sort of see how this train of thinking, this trail of thought can help you get to a higher level emotional benefit of why your employees come into work every day. So Michael did this for Juno specifically, and I'm going to let her read out the answers. So starting with, in simple terms, Michael, what do your employees do?
Place qualified candidates in companies across the Philadelphia metro region.
And what's the benefit of that?
Companies who have pain points with open positions get the area's top talent to fill such roles.
And what's the benefit of that?
Hiring managers can save time and money on identifying the area's top candidate pool for particular positions and negotiating with the lead candidates.
And what's the benefit of that?
Companies and hiring managers can concentrate on the core of their business instead of worrying about sourcing and hiring, in addition to getting the role filled.
And what is the benefit of that?
More money and revenue to the bottom line. Employees of hiring organizations will be able to fully focus on their role and moving the company forward. Also, the company will get a diverse candidate pool, which they wouldn't be able to identify without Juno.
So hopefully you guys can see, you know, just we started with what do recruiters at Juno do? Well, of course they place qualified candidates. Like, yep, that's the job function. That's what they do. But when you start to ask yourself what the benefit of that is, you get to a much more macro level impact that the recruiters are having. And that's really what top talent is searching for. What is the impact that I can have on the greater good of my industry? So what we do is we take all of these, you know, we take the responses that Michael added here, really focusing on the last one, the more money and revenue to the bottom line. Because once you get to your final question in terms of what's the benefit of that, that's typically when you're at more of that emotional, purpose-driven sentiment. And then you synthesize it. And you synthesize it into a very clear purpose statement. And so Juno's employee purpose statement is, when you work for Juno, you become a part of every candidate and client success story. While our clients are focused on running their business, we are focused on connecting them with the talent they need to move their business forward. And so from playing a very simple benefit game, now you've just created a pretty powerful purpose statement where all of a sudden you're not just a recruiter at Juno, you're actually helping place people that transform organizations. You know, you could take this a step further if you want, you know, to talking about really impacting, you know, local economies. And it can be as big as you want. It depends on the appetite of your organization for how big and aspirational you want to go. So that really is step one. You know, really powerful tool for HR and recruiters to have is, what is the larger purpose that you're going to serve here when you come in every day? And this is one way to get to it. Another question that candidates often ask is, what's the culture like? And this drives me nuts a little bit. We get it, a lot at Brownstein Group where, a lot of creatives and advertising communications, they want to know that it's a fun culture. People, the culture is fun. Well, culture really shouldn't be fun. Culture should be action-based. It should be measurable. Culture is really the output of the values and the belief systems of a collective group of people. So while culture often sounds like a soft benefit or a soft offering, like culture eats strategy for lunch, right? So it's really, really important that you can articulate your culture in a way that is taken seriously, where like culture isn't just the fun part of the job. So the first thing that you want to do is write your culture statement. And to do that, the questions you want to ask yourself is, what is our organization really driven by? And what fuels that drive? And ultimately, what do we exist to achieve? So what are you driven by? What fuels that drive? And what do you exist to achieve? Because if all the components of the culture are in place, the culture should be the engine that is behind the drive, that is the fuel that is helping you aspire to reach whatever success that you're looking for. And as I said, because culture is impacted by every single employee you hire. Every single employee will contribute to your culture in one way or the other, which is why it's really important to understand the employee traits that you're looking for when you're hiring. So a lot of organizations out there talk about cultural fit. I think it was Adam Grant who gave a talk a few months ago about, let's retire this word cultural fit. We don't want homogenous culture. We do want a dynamic culture, but you have to understand what are the traits that are most important, because every single trait is going to impact your company's ability to achieve whatever collective success that you're looking for. So once again, for Juno, Michael went through and completed this exercise, and her culture statement is this.
We are a networked firm fueled by relationships and teamwork that exists to build companies by placing top talent.
So, once again, you can see here this idea of them being a networked firm. Well, to be a networked firm, you really do have to be rooted in relationships and teamwork. That's how you build networks, right? So that's really important. And they exist to help build companies. Yes, it's through top talent, and you can see now some of this is even tying back to the purpose statement. So if this is the goal of Michael's culture at Juno, when she's hiring, there are certain traits she knows she needs to be looking for, because in order for her employees to be able to perform against this culture statement. And those traits are resiliency, tenacity, they need to be kind, client-centric, self-starters, and of course they need to be networkers. So now when Michael is talking to candidates and looking to hire recruiters, she's not describing the culture as, it's fun, it's flexible, we have shuffleboard and beer. Like, all of that's true and that should come into the conversation. But she can say, what? Our culture is really rooted in relationships and teamwork, so that we can help build companies, so that we can go out and we can find the talent to do that. So, the kind of people you're going to find at Juno, the kind of interactions that you're going to have are going to be kind. We're a resilient team. We're tenacious in all of our pursuits. We're very, very client-centric. It's a team of self-starters. The environment is all about networking. And all of a sudden, I have a much clearer picture of what my day is going to be like at Juno, the reality of the work versus some of the typical descriptions of culture that you tend to see out there. And then, of course, every candidate asks, so what are the benefits, right? Like this is just business as usual. So you're always going to want to have your list of hard benefits that you're going to offer a candidate. This is where you guys know way more about HR and its functions than I do from a talent branding perspective. So anything that you would put in the hard benefits bucket, like salary, health benefits, 401k, even at this point, career development programs are becoming a bit more expected, time off, any sort of health, or wellness reimbursement. So the hard benefits you offer. And then you have the soft benefits, like free lunch Fridays, for example, time off for community service, employee appreciation month, happy hours, free beer. benefits to the employee, but certainly are a bit more soft. And then your unique benefits. What can you offer out there that other companies who are competing for talent aren't necessarily offering? What's unique to your organization? In the case of Juno, if I don't know if any of you have been in their offices, but they have shuffleboard and foosball. Very, this is how they kind of relax and unwind together. Summer Fridays, spot bonuses, just for doing a good job, team offsites. So these are a bit more unique. You're not going to find these benefits at every single recruiting firm. So it is important that you bucket these out a bit differently. So we went through the employee purpose statement, a culture statement, and a way to parse out your benefits, right? So when you put all of this together and you actually write it out, and you can, if you write it out, you can think about this as the intro to a job posting or the intro to your careers page. This is what it could look like. And again, this is just a little bit of wordsmithing and synthesizing, but your talking points, whether you're on the phone or it is your careers page, would go something like this. So you get on the phone with a candidate, and this first comes from the master brand. If you remember, I shared in the beginning, you do need to be clear on what your company stands for in general in the world. So Juno Search Partners is a talent acquisition firm that connects the right kind of people with the right kind of place. That's why they exist. Now, why do employees in Juno exist? This is the purpose statement that we came up with. When you work for Juno, you become part of every candidate and client success story. While our clients are focused on running their business, we're focused on connecting them with the talent they need to move their business forward. What's the culture like? We're a well-connected firm fueled by relationships and teamwork. We thrive on being busy networkers, do-gooders, getting it done, and by never giving up on our clients or each other. So this is where we took the personality attributes, and again, we just wordsmith them a little bit so it sounds a little bit more interesting to the candidate. And then lastly, while we offer competitive compensation and health benefits, because that's table stakes at this point, we also believe strongly in contributing to your career path with learning and development opportunities. We're also big fans of work-life balance and offer summer Fridays, company happy hours, and unlimited PTO. So showcasing some more of those unique benefits. So, if you can envision this as like the 4 paragraphs that lead into a job description or that might be on your careers page, all of a sudden you're creating a really powerful value proposition for why someone would want to work at your company, what your company exists to do, what they exist to do at your company, and what they're going to get that's different from some of the other companies out there who are competing for them to come in as, their next great badass team member. So, it's pretty simple if you put pen to paper and just really think through how you can reposition your company just through a purpose statement and by thinking a little bit differently about culture and your benefits. So once you have what you want to go out there and say to the world, it's important to know where to say it. And I don't have any magic sauce here. I'm sure a lot of you would actually have some really good recommendations on the best channels to go out and seek and find and attract talent. From my perspective and what I see, mandatory is your careers page on your website. Like, I am still blown away by the number of companies when I go to their careers page that just list the open positions, where you click on the link and you just see what the job requirements are. You have such an opportunity. You have minimally 10, 15 seconds where you get to tell that candidate something about your company before they're clicking into the open position. So take it. It's easy enough to work with your web team. Now you have some direction on how you might go about saying something unique. Take that opportunity and update the careers page on your website if you do just list out open positions. LinkedIn, of course, the number one recruiting and professional social network. Make sure your company profile is updated on LinkedIn, particularly with the employee value statement or purpose statement. And then all HR correspondence, every single touch point matters so much. We're actually going through this exercise at Brownstein Group right now where we are taking a look at what is the experience like the minute somebody clicks on our website. What does the application form look like? What does the email response look like that comes back? What is our our screener script that HR is using, because these first touch points make such an impression on the candidate in terms of what their employment experience is going to be like. So if you're using just regular forms, if nothing has a little bit of shine and sparkle in whatever way might be appropriate for your organization, take a look at it, because every single touch point matters. Every single touch point will impact perception. And then social media, again, this would be no surprise to you guys, but I think it's something like over 80% of candidates do go to the company's social media page to learn a little bit more about the company and see what more they can find out, to see if they're featuring employees, to see if they're featuring the workspace, because they want to see the real life version of what this company might be like as a place to work. So as much as you can bring your work environment to life on social media, do it. And you know, if you're a company, if you're in financial services or law where social media just isn't a tool that marketing uses, ask marketing if HR can be the owners of your social channels, and use Instagram and use Facebook as an employee engagement tool and as a talent acquisition tool. The good to have or the nice to have, of course, third-party job boards. You know, if you have company profiles out there, make sure you're updating language. We talked about application forms. As much as you can make that process more interesting, do it. Videos and presentations, this sort of content goes a long way on your careers page if you can show rather than tell what the culture's like, you know, featuring success stories for employees, showing different job functions. You know, this is what makes for a good careers page or a good careers microsite. More provocative interview questions, you know, that'll get people thinking a little bit differently about your company as a place to work. And then any sort of collateral that you would need for a job fair. If you're at trade shows or conferences where you might get approached for jobs, make sure you're updating everything so you have a consistent talent brand voice out there in the marketplace. All right, so now we're going to go through some examples. We have about 10 minutes. These are examples that Michael and I really love, or you know, we think that these companies do a good job in using their overall brand to either highlight employees or to attract just badass talent, which is really what this is about. So the first example that I'm going to show you, I'm going to have to click out of here to YouTube, so bear with me on that, is GE. I don't know if you guys have seen GE's campaign out there about inventors. GE's also really big into equality in their workforce. So I'm going to show you a commercial here. And if you think about GE and your brand perception of GE, like what have they been over the last 10 or 15 years? You know, they kind of went quiet, and then GE became a bit more of this outdated company where when you thought of GE, you just thought about maybe like, you know, the 80s and the 90s, and like when GE was big and had some might. They went quiet a bit, and now in bringing this campaign back, this campaign that GE did was actually a talent acquisition campaign, because what they found is that they're not getting a younger workforce applying for jobs there. GE wasn't a sexy brand to work at. It was highly industrial was the perception. If you were an engineer, you had any sort of industrial skill set, GE wasn't even on your radar as a place to apply. And then they launched this campaign, and while this is a talent acquisition campaign, it's actually reinvigorated their brand. And from a brand perspective now, GE is being seen again on the forefront of invention. So with that, I will play you this commercial. If your sound isn't turned up, you might want to turn it up so you can hear the video.
Molly, can you please take out the trash?
Thank you. So that's the GE example. All focused on Molly and her growing up as a very inventive child, now leading to what looks to be a pretty successful career at GE. And just to show you what their careers page looks like, I think this is a really good example. I'll get my meetings out of here. So this is their careers page, and they have just like an overview page here. Get yourself a world-changing job. Like that alone, you know, I'm more intrigued now. What do you mean by world-changing? You know, what could I work on? They're talking about purpose. Find your purpose and build relationships with a GE internship if you're looking for an intern. And then just some nice facts and figures, a quote from the CEO: "We're a company of passion and integrity." Passion and integrity, so that we know now that these are GE's brand values. Always pushing forward to improve and grow in every sense. So I won't read everything through here. I encourage you to bookmark this, but you know, now that you've gone through some of this webinar and you can see some of the pillars and the tenets that tend to make up a brand and a talent brand, if you look at this careers page, you can see that it's just a little bit of content makes a really big difference in how you would perceive GE as a place to work. Getting to their culture page, you know, they have a culture statement as soon as you land right here. We are 295,000 employees with one common mission: build, power, cure, move, and connect the world. We embrace simplicity and diversity, and we believe great world-changing ideas can come from anyone, anywhere in our organization. If you think about the culture statement we wrote for Michael and Juno, that was about, you know, what are they driven by? What are they fueled by? What is that collective success? Well, this is GE's version of that. So certainly look at this for inspiration. And if you're thinking, yeah, sure, this is GE, they have the resources to do something like this. If you really look at this web page, you know, you're just talking about some imagery and a little bit of copy. It's really not that much for the impact that it can make. So that's GE. I just wanted to quickly show their Instagram. So the day-to-day reality of GE is really industrial. You know, you're in aerospace and electronics. And so here they're just showing these moments of people working. And if you click into an image, it's just telling you about that employee and about what they're working on. So, you know, I'm not into aerospace. I wouldn't find it particularly interesting as a consumer, but if someone is in aerospace and they get to see the challenge that that guy on the lower left in the red is working on, that might seem really cool to me. So, you know, you look at this, and again, you know, if you, within HR or even marketing, you're going around with your smartphone and you're taking pictures of people doing their job, the right kind of candidates will find it very interesting, particularly if the copy and how you're describing, you know, not what job function they're doing in that moment, but what problem they're working on in that moment, what they're looking to solve in that moment. It's really all about the impact that that employee might be making in that moment. So SHRM's a local company. You guys might be familiar with SHRM. I think they do a spectacular job on their careers page. So you come to careers, sure, they have few open positions, but if you scroll down, they spend a little bit of time talking about what it might be like to work at SHRM. You know, find a job with heart. And if you see how they start this paragraph off, have you ever considered that every company's career page is written by their HR and marketing website people? They can spin it however they want, only giving you a piece of the puzzle. We like puzzle as much as the next guy, but we dig transparency more. And then what they do is they spend a lot of time like really telling you every detail about what the company is like as a place to work. Sure, they've won awards as a top workplace. This is one way to feature that. The data only we can give you. So these are about some of the benefits, the hard benefits, the soft benefits, some of the unique benefits, in sort of an infographic format. You know, the average time someone gets off, the average number of paid paternal leave, the budget that you have each year to spend on anything that's going to grow you professionally. Every employee gets $1,000 to attend conferences, for example. So they do then talk about the regular benefits that you would expect: health, compensation, and retirement. And in terms of culture, they show it through just like these really quick pictures that when you scroll over them, they just give you a little bit of information. on your, I think on Mother's and Father's Day, they send their employees' parents flowers. You know, like that's such a small little benefit, but it's very cool. It tells you a lot about the culture. Hours of operation, attitude of gratitude, and being able to write letters to employees that you're grateful for. So again, if you look at this site, like you probably have a lot of these same stats. You have all of this information. It's just about packaging it and working with whoever your web team is to get it on your careers page. All right, let's see what we have next. The last site that we're going to show you here is for O3 World. Again, they're another company that's local to Philadelphia. I wanted to show them because it's pretty simple. So this is their careers page. This is it. There's nothing more to scroll down or up to. And they have a very simple statement on the right. We believe in balanced environment where positivity, hard work, and happy hours coexist. While much of our time is spent at our desks or in meetings, we've created a culture that makes the outside world an integral part of our daily working routines. So they put a statement forth, and then they do have the job positions listed here, which is okay. And on the left, they just have this running video that's showing you the work environment. It's probably, I don't know if it's shot on an iPhone. You could certainly shoot something like this on an iPhone or a Samsung, upload it, and that's it. You know, it's not a ton of content on this page. You don't even have to do a lot of writing, but just this video alone and this little piece of an intro statement on the right makes a really big difference in your perception versus them just showing the open positions. So hopefully that's pretty clear. And then quickly, I'm not going to read through all of this, but this is for Beneficial Bank. This is a brochure that we did, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, about 2 years ago at this point. The HR team there needed a brochure for job fairs. And they said, you know, we're having a really hard time getting younger people, so basically recent college grads, to want to be tellers in banks, to want to come work for a bank. Like working for a community bank just isn't a sexy job. Can you help us? So we created a talent brand for Beneficial Bank that was really based on a call to action. So come into the blue and see things differently. Blue being, you know, the Beneficial's brand color, and we see banking through a different lens. What we see next is up to you. And if you just sort of envision that this would fold in half, this is probably a better way to envision that. And then we talk about the values of Beneficial and their employees that make it a really attractive place to work. So balance, when we talk about balance, we're not talking about numbers. Our mission, so this is a brand statement, our mission is to do what's right. To us, it's just as important to help our customers find smarter ways to maintain their balance as it is to foster a work-life balance for our employees. So whether it's financial workshops for customers or health and wellness programs for you, we're focused on the bigger picture. And so you can see how Beneficial does a really nice job of taking what they offer to their customers and saying, hey, we value our employees just as much, and so we want to empower you in similar ways. So again, I won't read through all of this, but this is a really simple brochure. This is something that any sort of marketing or creative team could create if you just really sit down and think about your brand values and what you can offer to employees in a way that is a little bit more interesting. So vision, it's not just about what you see, it's about where you see yourself. Yes, benefits are important to us too. That's why we offer excellent ways of ensuring that our employees and their families are healthy. But we also have a different view on improving your vision. It's focused on your path. Here, if you see yourself as a leader, we'll talk to you and help you realize that goal. You have many ways, including insert any program, that helps create career paths to grow within the organization. So sometimes, you know, for HR and companies, it's really just about saying it. And then, of course, you know, a call to action to apply. And then lastly, from a social media perspective, we just wanted to show a couple examples on, again, you know, how you can really showcase culture in employees on social media. If you're looking to attract a younger workforce, Instagram's most likely the path to least resistance. It's image driven. If you can go around and take pictures with your phone, you know, it doesn't have to be high production. It doesn't have to be a photo shoot, right? Like, as long as you have a pretty good eye and you know how to frame up a picture, HR can go around and start to develop start to increase photos and create a photo bank for what they might want to showcase. So Sprout Social is an example where they're just showing little vignettes of their work environment, best places to work, an employee. It's just these little vignettes. It's not necessarily telling me anything, but it's showing me everything. And all of a sudden, I have a much better grasp, at least on Sprout, what it might be like to go in there on a day-to-day basis. Moz, they're out in Seattle. Their description here, get a peek under the Mozplex hood. Office pup, celebrations, getting things done, and of course, Roger the Mozbot. So this is all just very much part of their sort of quirky culture, but you can see here how they're just showing these little moments at work here with puppies. If you don't have puppies, your organization might have something, maybe there's inside jokes, go around and ask employees, what are the little quirks and nuances that make them smile every day around the office? And that's what you would want to feature. And then urban, of course, teamwork makes the dream work. So here again, they're just showing these little moments. Urban is a style and fashion company, so of course, their photos would look gorgeous. They don't have to though. They're just featuring little corners of the office that look beautiful in that lighting at that moment, or somebody working, somebody reading a book. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It just has to be consistent, and it just has to show the true, authentic working environment that an employee would come to expect should they start working at your company. So I think we have just a minute left. So to wrap all of this up, if nothing else, the things that we really want you to take away is that branding is so much more than a logo and colors. It really is how people perceive companies and how companies make them feel. And the way people perceive your company as a place to work, that's your talent brand. And as I said, you have a talent brand whether you want to or not. And so do everything you can to make sure you're impacting people's perceptions that your company is a great place to work. If marketing exists, get with them. If not, put pen to paper and work through some of the exercises we talked about today. You can always reach out to me if you want some of these frameworks or templates. And make sure that you're really consistent in your message. Once you write down your employee purpose statement, it doesn't change. Once you write down your culture statement, it doesn't change. It doesn't change based on who you want to hire or who you want to attract. It should be really true to your vision for growth and your master brand. And then once you start changing the way you're communicating, whether it's on your careers page, in interviews, pay attention to how conversations might start to go a bit differently, or how you might start attracting a different caliber of talent. Because if you're presenting your company as a place to work in a more elevated way, you should expect that you're going to get an elevated level of talent as a result. And so words to leave you by, Michael does this day in and day out, and she does have a little bit of some wisdom she'd like to share with you.
Yeah, so thanks, Anne, for leaving me 60 seconds to deliver my mantra. So truth be told, Anne and I are personal friends, and she's often challenging me to think of these things through a marketing lens. And just going through this exercise was, once again, really eye-opening in terms of Juno as a business, how we're perceived, and how we go about business. And one thing that has become clear to me and is becoming more clear sort of every year is how much marketing we do on the day-to-day. And I explained to Anne that when we get a new position in, one of the first things we do is build out what we call a recruiting strategy. And I'm not even sure why we call it a recruiting strategy anymore. It's really a marketing strategy. So, what is the job posting going to look like? How are we going to market it? What social media channels are we going to put it to? What email lists are we going to send it to? It's really all marketing. And if you're effective, it certainly saves a lot of time and money as it pertains to recruiting. So I'll just leave you with that thought. Building out different strategies in terms of thinking of your company through the marketing lens will certainly save time and money as it pertains to recruiting, as it's done with Juno.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that, Michael. And that's it. We have our email addresses up here. Again, if anyone has any follow-up questions or remarks. I'm heading to Vegas after this call to see Cher, so you might not get a response from me until Monday if you do send any questions, but certainly feel free to. That's it. Thank you for your time and attention, and
Thank you.
hopefully you learned a few things.
Thanks, Anne, and thank you, Michael. We're now going to open it up. If you have any immediate questions that you want answered, I know that they provided you the option for email as well, but if you want any immediate questions answered, you can type them into the question box at this time. I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to do that.
Got a shy group.
I know, quiet. That's fine. Again, certainly feel free to follow up if you have any questions that do come up. And I'm going to turn it over to Zakita to close out our webinar today.
Thank you again to today's speakers for taking the time to share their knowledge with us. Thank you to each of you for joining today's webinar. As a reminder, please look for the follow-up email with the link to the survey. Be sure to complete the survey in order to receive HRCI and SHRM credits, and visit www.phillyshrm.org to register for other upcoming events. We encourage you to check out the Philly SHRM website for updates on all of our upcoming programs. Our next event is Embracing Differences in the Workplace Professional Development event on January 25th. Our next webinar on the Immigration Survival Guide, new administration, new adjudications, upcoming regulations will be held on February 8th. Also, make sure to register for the annual symposium by January 31st for early bird savings. On behalf of Philly SHRM, thanks again and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.